Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Jerseys with Josh, the YouTube channel about all things related to NHL game worn jerseys. And today we're talking big guns Alexander Ovechkin, Joe Sakic, and Conor McDavid. I'm meeting with my collector friend, Jeff Carriere, to talk about his absolutely incredible jerseys. Let's talk about it. Jeff, welcome back. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join. Let's start with the guy working on the all-time scoring lead, Alex Ovechkin. What a collection you've got. Tell me the story
Thanks,
of
Josh.
how you decided to pick up this beauty.
So I was just looking on my gray website. I initially had a couple Ovechkin replica jerseys that I was able to part with. I was kind of sad to see them go because you don't see the Screaming Eagles in the black capital jerseys sign very much. But this is just an opportunity that I cannot pass up. I mean, just having a piece of history, just doing some further research to the jersey, because this is worn first game when he scored goals 694 and 695, which tied him with Mark Messier and put him past for sole place for eighth in NHL scoring. Initially, when I looked at the my grade, it said goals number 702 to 705. So just finding out, doing some homework, I mean, definitely pays off, and just amazing just having a piece of history essentially. So
Incredible. And it's so well documented too, and we'll get into that for sure, but really nice to have that assurance that you know what you're holding in your hands there is legit. It's the real deal.
exactly, and nothing compares to a Mike jersey. This is a huge jersey, size 60, as a lot of Ovie collectors know. And what's unique about this too is I'm not too sure how many players actually have multiple fight straps, but this one actually has three of them. So as you see the pictures, and I don't know if you can see it in my
Oh, unreal. Here, I'll
camera.
go back. There you can kind of see them in this picture here. I
Yeah.
have never seen a jersey with three fight straps before.
No, I've owned about 20, 25 gamers, majority of them Adidas, but I've never had any um, size 60 and none with the three fight straps. So unfortunately with this, it's very light wear. It's only used in a handful of games. I think there's only 5 games that he wore it. So very minimum wear to it, a couple loose threads here and there, a small puck mark on the sleeve, a small repair right there. And so, but I mean, just even the prices of Ovechkin stuff have just skyrocketed ever since he's continues to climb.
Most
So
definitely. No, 100%. And the great news is he did some of what he does best. He did some goal scoring in that jersey.
indeed.
And some pretty special moments. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so like I said, mentioned before, I mean, the biggest thing is the goals 694 and 695. I mean, essentially to put him in eighth. What's really unique with that is, being known as the Great Eight, for this jersey to put him in eighth at the time. Um, I mean, that's just crazy to ever think of owning something like that. So I was able to get this nameplate. So I have that on display with my jersey. It has all the stats and it has the photo when he scored 694 to tie Messier. And so it's kind of a neat little piece. So it just breaks down every goal. So a couple games he didn't have goals, but I mean, you can't complain too. That's also in the 2019-2020. It's when he won his 9th Rocket Richard Trophy. So another cool little tidbit. So
No, that's super cool. And you mentioned the wear is a bit on the lighter side, which is understandable, but still enough for you to get some photo matches. I've got them up on the screen, some of the stuff
yeah,
that you identified.
Yeah, so that one was, I think that's when he played the Rangers, I want to say. Also, too, there's another photo that I was able to identify just by this back mark right here against the Rangers. So, but it is tough because it looks like Ovie kind of wears like a protector right on top of his glove that it's white, so it kind of just blends in with the jersey. And there's a couple of scuff marks, so it's kind of, you have to be really careful to identify properly, because if you see right underneath like the trim of the jersey in the photo that you have, you notice the big white gap, Josh.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that's what I'm kind of referring to. And I can see it totally makes sense, especially being star players, potentially being slashed there. It's great for them to have protection there. So
Makes total sense to me. Here we've got a couple more photos that we've got.
exactly. That's against the Rangers. That's the back marking. So it was tough, but I had a good friend that helped me photo match it. So you just have to kind of pay close attention, because like I said, with the lighter wear, and your wingers aren't grinding as much as your centers, so stay tuned. You'll see what I'm talking about. So
Excellent. Awesome. Well, incredibly cool Ovechkin jersey. All right, let's flip the script and talk about the Oilers captain, often known as McJesus. I'll not deny that I wish my Sabres had gotten him. Conor McDavid, wow. What an incredible jersey, man. This guy is often referred to as the most talented NHL player. Yeah, show us that jersey and tell us the story of how you picked it up.
So I got this from one of the greatest Oiler collectors, Mr. Sean Chalk, last year. When he presented this opportunity, it was one that I couldn't pass up. I had to part with a couple other gamers that were hard to come about, but I mean, to have a caliber like McDavid in your collection, it still blows my mind to even think that I own this. Beauty thing is, it's the 40th anniversary patches. This is set 1 of that year. It's very like tags. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yes, I know the Oilers have the same color tags. It's really interesting.
Yeah. On top of the my grade tagging right here. So, and like I said, unlike the Ovechkin jersey, this has way more wear to it. The main repair right here.
Yes, that's this one, I think, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a couple of different games I was able to identify that through. And also too, the sleeves has some nice marking on them too. So this jersey was only used for 5 games. And let's see. He had 1 goal versus the Bruins, 1 goal, 1 assist versus the Rangers, 2 goals, 2 assists versus the Jets, 1 goal, 1 assist versus the Predators, and 1 goal versus the Hawks. So, every game that he wore this, he had at least 1 goal, another plate, just like the Ovechkin one, to go with the jersey. Nice display piece, just makes it look clean, and you can easily identify what games he wore the jersey. So, I mean, it's a beautiful piece. I would prefer the home, but I find that the white is nice because it kind of makes it a little bit easier for puck marks to kind of pop, and a little easier to photo match. So, just starting off with replica jerseys with McDavid, Ovechkin, and Sakic to get to this point, never in my wildest dreams. It's a big investment, but I mean, it's something that's just going to grow in value. And hopefully I can hand this down to my son. This is essentially like this generation's Wayne Gretzky. Hopefully one day we can get a couple cups for McDavid to kind of get to that next level like Gretzky, but only time will tell, right?
That's right. That would be very cool and so awesome that you got it from Sean. An
Yeah.
awesome guy. I was lucky enough to spend a little
Fantastic.
time with him. I'll put the link up here if people want to see that video. What a cool dude. And yeah, I mean that's you're holding another piece of history there between Ovechkin and McDavid. It's a pretty special piece and cool that it's from the community, coming through the community. I love that.
Exactly. You know, Sean was fantastic to work with, and for him to part with this and, you know, work with me, and he's very flexible. He's always been great support. Like anytime I had any questions about sign Wayne Gretzky stuff or anything hockey related, he's always there and happy to help out. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. So, you know, and fantastic storyteller. I mean, I watched his video with you and with a few other things that he's done, and always enjoy watching his stuff. So, I mean, there's so much that our generation can learn from people like him who've been in the hobby for, you know, 25 to 30 years. So we need to kind of take that expertise and, you know, pass it on to the next generations. So we got some pretty big shoes to fill there, Josh.
Most definitely. We both do, my friend. Okay, I mean, in that spirit of like the next generation and thinking back to childhoods, let's talk about Joe Sakic. I remember him when I was a kid on the Nordiques and on the Avalanche, and man, what a cool career.
He was one of my favorite players growing up. I started off as a Habs fan, huge Patrick Waugh fan. He was my idol as a kid. And I just remember following suit when he went to Colorado. And as you see in my background, I have a couple Nordiques in Avalanche jerseys. And one of my first ones, I'll go in there, that one right there. I got that jersey when I was 12 years old back in 1998-ish. And had the opportunity to get it signed and inscribed. And when I had the opportunity to buy this is off a third-party seller through MyGray. Barry was great to work with. I can't say enough. I also purchased my Ovechkin jersey directly from them as well. Great company. I couldn't pass this up. You know, like Josh said, who can't like Joe Sakic? The guy was just a fantastic player, represented our country, you know, 2002 gold medal goal. What he did for the Avalanche and continues to do for the Avalanche is just, you know, three-time Cup champion now. So it's awesome to say. But this is actually from his last full season, because the last two he only played partial seasons. And the neat thing is, doing more research, this was set 3 of the home. You can kind of see the 3 little strikes in the tag. Also, too, it has the MyGray tag in, as you see. This is when they were playing Calgary, their last home game, and he actually hit 100 points and became the second oldest player at, I want to say 37 years old. And the neat thing is, I got this little piece done up too. So I got the numbers cut, inscribed to match the date and everything of the jersey and his points. So he had 36 goals and 64 assists. And that was on April the 8th of 2007. So incredible. Cool little piece to go with the jersey. Anytime I can kind of do little things just to kind of, you know, spruce up the jersey appearances and everything, I always try to do that. I'm just waiting actually for a signed photo of this Ovechkin one. I'm just waiting for his upcoming signing. So getting a nice 16 by 20 for that. But getting back to this, can you guess who's the oldest player to score 100 points?
Gordie Howe.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, wow. I will take that one. That's awesome.
So, I mean, to hit 100 points at that age, you know, that's just crazy. But that, I mean, that's just the kind of talent that Joe Sakic had. And, You know, I always love the ones with the Yeti patches compared to the C on the shoulders. You know, that's just the topping on the cake. I really like this trim style because the last couple of years, I don't know if you remember, the Colorado went with just the straight down. So, and then like they went blue with the paneling straight down, and it'll be like the burgundy right at the bottom. So just to kind of break it up. So I mean, I really like this style. This is kind of like the original style Avalanche. So the have that, it was just kind of like the icing on the cake. So yeah, there's kind of same thing with Ovechkin, kind of bit on the lighter wear. The main thing is the loose thread I was able to identify in the game versus Calgary. So that's why, I mean, you got to look at every little loose thread or, you know, to make it easier to photo match. It's not always easy, as you know, the experts out there. But I mean, when you can actually photo match it, it's just that much better.
No, it's amazing. I'm glad you found that. It definitely helps, makes you gives you a little bit of extra peace of mind. Not that maybe you're
100%.
nervous, you know, but all of us sometimes I think carry a little bit. So when you get those matches, you're like, oh, that just feels
Exactly, because
so
I
good.
mean, LOAs are great, but I mean, there can be mistakes in LOAs, and as we all know, especially with older jerseys. But anytime you can photo match 100%, you know, there's your proof. There's no line to a photo match, you know. So
100%. And while we're on the topic of Sakic and Forsberg and the Avalanche, I too, as a youngster, for those of you who don't know, me and Jeff are the same age, have almost the same birthday, kind of crazy. But I remember that cup run that they had. I was a huge Avs fan. I was a big fan of Stefan Fasse on the Nordiques, and then he went from, you know, obviously the Nords over to the Avs. So that's why I was an Avs fan back then. And I was one of the kids who would write letters to the players. So I wrote letters. I remember this. I wrote a letter to Stefan Fasse, Patrick Waugh, Peter Forsberg, and Joe Sakic. I heard back from Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg. Joe sent
wow.
a nice autographed picture, and Peter Forsberg even wrote to Joshua on it, and signed it. I still have it to this day. So some pretty cool players and some nice guys to boot.
I've heard nothing but fantastic stories about Sakic, and I mean, you just read it and just the respect that he, like, you know, got around the league, even against, like, when they played the Red Wings. That was a huge rival when they're in the Western Conference back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I just remember reading the article with Sean Avery. I don't know if you ever read that, when Brett Hall said, "You sit your ass down when you're talking to Mr. Sakic." So, I mean, what does that show you, to receive that much respect from another legend against a huge rival like the Red Wings back in that time? I mean, that just speaks justice as to the type of player Joe Sakic is, you know. And I wanted to, because I have a Team Canada jersey, and I wanted to get, because he was the MVP of the tournament. He says, I won't inscribe MVP because it was the team effort, not just me. That just shows you the type of player, you know. He's not selfish by any means. So one day it'd be fantastic to be able to meet him, but it's tough with us being in Canada compared to being in the States. But I mean, it is what it is. And at
Yes.
least having his jersey, I mean, that's still better than nothing. So
100%. Well, let's talk values. Not really intending to talk too much about your like values and dollar amounts specifically, but superstars in general. We do have some info that you shared from the original listings and things like that. So here's what we've got for now. For those collectors out there thinking about a McDavid or an Ovechkin, what are your thoughts, Jeff, on the topic?
I mean, I got them when the prices were right. I'm not going to say, of course, like most collectors don't really say what they pay, but I mean, it's great to kind of see the values increase for myself, but I kind of feel bad for collectors trying to get into the hobby because it's not cheap by any means. And keep in mind, these prices are in USD. So, I mean, look at the prices of Gretzky stuff, how crazy they are. I mean, these are nowhere near, but who knows what they're going to be in, 10, 15, 20 years time. So, but yeah, they're just going through the roof, just like everything. It seems like now nothing's cheap.
No, everything it seems has gone up, and in reading and listening about the hobby, it seems like superstar jerseys in particular have really taken off in terms of value. Yeah,
100%, especially when you get into like an option setting. So like one reference that I sent you to was the set for Ovechkin worn before mine. Um, I think it was game worn auctions. It sold for about 25,000 American plus the 20% hammer fee. So,
unreal, unreal.
and I bet in 5, 10 years time, it's just gonna probably be higher and higher. The more that if you even look on my Gray's website, they're starting at 13, 14,000 American. And when you're able to match it to like a milestone, that just increases the value that much more. So
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
it's a great investment. That's what my wife even said. She hates my jerseys, just like probably most wives. And she says, anything you can get Ovechkin, by all means, go ahead. Because when I told her the price of the photo, it's not cheap. But she says, do it when it's affordable, because when he continues to get closer to Gretzky's record, that's just going to blow the roof with value, just like everything, right? So,
Yeah, is he gonna
yeah.
break the record? What do you think?
It's going to be, I mean, if anyone's going to break it, it's going to be him, and even Gretzky said, he's kind of excited if someone does break it, but it's going to be a tough feat, but the guy's just a machine. So it'll be
Sure.
interesting. It just seems like he never ages. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see him play, but I mean, he's sneaky and he just always pops in goals. So, I mean, that's his job. So he does
Unbelievable.
something. So, but I just want to thank you for having me back on. And it's always great to speak to you and talk to other enthusiasts just like ourselves, because this first time I was able, I've always showed photos, but photos don't really do justice compared to actually seeing and talking about the jersey, because that validates like, hey, like I own it, because anyone can just take a photo and say, yep, it's mine, right? But just being able to show like a lot of time and effort has gone, like getting a collection to this doesn't happen overnight. And I just want people to know that, you start off with the basics and you work your way up and just get to this point. But I mean, in the end, game worn jerseys, way to go.
It's a great hobby.
Great people to meet, and to actually say your favorite all-star wore it, and be able to pass that down. Just see, it's the excitement too. Like when I show my nephews and all that, my son's only 4, so he's still pretty young to really understand. He's just starting hockey for the first time tomorrow. So
Awesome.
hopefully he really gets into this. And I'm able to pass this down to him, say, here you go, here's your college. So,
100%. Oh, that's such an exciting time. I'm always glad to sit down and spend time with you, Jeff. You're a great dude and glad to be connected. So, to anybody who watched, thanks for spending the time with us and watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Would love to know in the comments below which jersey of Jeff's here is your favorite. It's a hard one to pick. Jeff, could you pick a favorite?
oh, it's tough because I like them all for different reasons. I love Sakic because that was my favorite player growing up. Who can't like Ovechkin or McDavid, and the history behind. I love the fact that they're both unique in the sense that the 40th patch for McDavid and, the milestone for Ovechkin. It's so hard. But let's hear from the viewers to see which one you guys would pick. I want your pick now, Josh.
Sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to go with Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Sakic just because of the childhood nostalgia, but it's a very tight race.
It makes us feel young. I think I'm probably gonna pick the same because I mean, going back to when we're, like 24 years ago, us growing up, that's why, to me, I almost have to agree with you. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thanks again for the chat. Thanks everybody for watching and enjoy the hobby.
thanks.